Thank you guys once again for joining La Verdad
Yay!
Filtro podcast.
Let's go.
Gracias por lo que están sintonizados a este podcast. Con nosotros tenemos 3 personas muy especiales aquí. Fidel.
4, bro. What's up with me, bro?
No, they already know you. Don't worry. Pues, tenemos nosotros Edwin Valera desde el Bronx.
Mr. Edwin Valera, yes. Let's go.
También está acompañado con dos jóvenes, Amanda y Cristina.
Amanda, yes. Christina.
Hello.
Well, Edwin,
Welcome.
it's been a while since we've seen you, man. You got a lot of things going on, bro. How you been,
Yeah,
bro?
man, I'm good, man.
Bro, we're seeing your journey, bro. It's going good. It's just going higher and higher, and we thank God for that, man.
Glory to Jesus, man.
Yeah, I think last time you were here, you had a single out, right? Just one
Yeah,
song.
was it one? Probably.
Espiritu Santo.
Oh no, so probably 2 then.
Two,
Probably
yeah.
Just two.
Yeah. But God has been good.
You've grown since then. Like, what's going on, man?
Well, thank you guys for having me. It's always good to be here. And I'm happy, man. I'm happy. God is faithful. We've seen God's faithfulness in our lives and stuff like that. And just being able to do what we love the most, and is worship God and do it through the genres that we like the most.
Yes.
And working with your friends. I think that's the best. Working with friends. Sometimes in music, we work with whoever's the cheapest,
Yeah.
or whoever's like the best, like, or you want to get the best top. But like when whoever you consider top people are your friends is amazing.
That's
so
right,
like
man.
my top people, my friends Amanda and stuff like that, and my producer Manny.
Yeah, just give them a shout out right now.
Oh, Manny. Emmanuel Mendez, Manny Bass, man. We love him. He's been such
Guy's a beast, bro.
Yeah, he's been such a great help in my life.
Yeah.
And a great friend, because it's just not about music. We just talk.
And I think like what you said, when you work with friends, it doesn't feel like a job. It doesn't feel
No,
like,
yeah. And like right now, I
Correct.
don't feel like I'm just talking to my
And
friends.
you've done like a lot of interviews, bro. You have
Well,
done a lot of interviews, bro.
These days I've done a few, getting used to them. I never really done them before, so it's been like it's been a cool experience to like talk to other people, and like they be having so much information about you. Like, wow, you know me more than me. Like,
So how do you get these interviews? Like, you have a manager,
well, yeah, man.
Yeah,
Shout out to my manager Luis Arvelo.
Louis.
Yeah, it's my man, homeboy. We kind of grew up together. We used to be in a band, actually. A lot of people don't know that.
JDF, right?
Yeah,
Come on, bro.
Yeah, at the time. Those
We
were times.
know.
Tell them what that stands for, though.
Jóvenes de fe.
Godson Casado.
Yeah, my man Gosson too in Boston, his family. But yeah, we met back in the day. Back in the day, we used to be in this band, and I remember that I was singing Coro de Fuego. Yo estaba cantando unos clases de Coro de Fuego, and I was just singing with them, man. We was just traveling different places, man.
Cookie size.
Yeah, my man,
Oh, whoa,
Caesar,
Cookie
Cookie.
Sack, bro.
Yeah. It
Can't
was
forget about
everyone.
them.
All the OGs, man, were over there, and it was a great time, and we know each other from those days, and we bumped in into each other thanks to my man JC Negron.
Okay.
We was at a restaurant and we saw each other and we just reconnected, and I knew that it was from God, and we just been working together ever since, and it's been great.
Like, as a Christian artist, or like an artist in general, I have a lot of artist friends, and we talk about having manager. You think it's necessary, or you think you should just let God take control?
Let God or let go.
I think
it's smart though.
it's
smart
that
to have a
you-
manager.
You should have a manager.
Yeah.
Sure, right?
I think that sometimes we think that we can do everything, and I get because nobody knows better than yourself. I guess
Yeah.
or
I'm
your
gonna help you
vision.
out with that question, because that's a pretty good question. It's like saying, does a church need an accountant?
Mm-hmm.
They do need an accountant, because you know what? Yes, although we are a non-profit organization, we still need someone professional. So
Of
I think,
course.
like, in your case, if especially, and also how you look yourself. Do you look yourself like a professional? So then you want to get a professional team. I mean, that's my opinion.
Yeah. Touching the accounting thing, it's like, I just don't understand. Like, we're gonna sometimes in church, we have these different positions, and it's like, the accountant, works in Little Caesars in their regular job, and then but for church, then you're an accountant. And I just feel like that's why sometimes we don't take church serious, because
Yes.
we wanna put people who don't have nothing to do with that, and not that you can't do it, but that's the reason why sometimes we can't grow, because how are we supposed to? I feel like accountants supposed to see and what is missing, and like, okay, pastor, this is what we could do.
Yes.
But we don't have a professional. We just have someone counting money. Hoy se recolectó $40. That's not an accountant. That's not an accountant, That's just. I just counted how much, cuánto dinero.
No, but that's good.
recolectó.
I mean, it also comes out to like depend on how you see yourself. If you want people to see you professional, if you want people to see you serious, then act serious. Like for example, we could have done this podcast in the basement with cheap mics, cheap light. But we said no, man. We want the best. We want to make sure that whatever the product that we want to give out, make it as professional as possible. And I think I'm gonna agree. If you're an artist, if you're an upcoming artist, get yourself a manager. You need somebody that can do a manager job description. Yeah.
And there's some things that you can't do that.
And you chose Luis, right? Luis Arbelo, and he's a great manager.
Luis is the best.
Yeah.
He just, because the thing is that there's things that I can see as a musician, but he sees it as a manager, and he has that vision. And you know how many ideas he brings? He's not only the manager, he's the music directors.
He feels a lot of shit.
Yeah, he's
great.
He's just doing everything, and not only does he directs it, but he makes whatever we're doing. Like this, we don't buy certain things; he makes it.
Yeah.
Or we need this, or he'll just make it. So he's just like, he does everything, and he's just.
He actually made this, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he did all of this.
But listen, Luis,
shout out.
yo,
Now,
shout out
that's the
to
podcast.
Luis.
Shout out to Luis Arbelo. Every
Shout out
production.
to Luis,
Now, I
man.
want to ask you, your path, right? How did your path and Amanda's path come across?
You want to talk about that?
I mean,
I've been talking for.
You've been talking.
okay, so
Amanda, yay!
Hello, hi. Stop it. Thank you so much. So we actually met. I met Edwin through his lovely girlfriend sitting right here. If it wasn't for her, this.
Christina, yay!
Yes, Christina. Clap it up for Christina with the curls. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah, if it wasn't for her, we would not have met. Me and Christina grew up in the same small church in the Bronx, and so that's kind of where that happened. We weren't always friends, and then we became friends, and when we did become friends, then she introduced me to her boyfriend, who was Edwin, who's sitting right here, and yeah, the rest is history.
Nice. What was the first song that you guys did together? Or was there another song that you guys sang together in church and said, yo, we have something, we have chemistry here, we have, it sounds good?
Well, I don't like the way she said that story. I feel like there's things.
There's
missing
more.
here.
There's more.
Yeah.
Okay,
I feel
tell it better then.
Yes, because
guess.
there was I don't know, there was something very important. Like, we just met, right? And I knew that she could, that there was potential in her. I saw the calling of God in her life, and she was really young. I don't know, she was 12, 13, around that age. But there was potential. And I saw, I spoke to Chris, and she just started coming around more, and we just kind of became friends, and from there, we just started
Connected.
we connected, and we started doing, we did a few covers and stuff like that, and there was just more. There was more of God in her. I knew that there was more of God in her, and we connected, and we got here. I started doing the concerts, and I started really working on my stuff, and she was just always there, and she was just a great help. She was a great help, and she started singing at the church, and she's been able to just grow, and we're really, really proud of her. I'm really, really
Nice.
proud of her,
So am I.
and everything that she's done, and being part of this project, and I know that God has so many things for her.
So like,
Thank you.
how much you charge for a feature? Like, is it more now? Like,
No, but you know what, Edwin? That's pretty cool, man. That you kind of like took her under your wings, I could say, something like that. You know,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
You didn't want to just have the spotlight for yourself, or the stage, and and you brought someone, and you don't see that nowadays. You don't see that as much because people just want the spotlight to themselves only, and let everybody else get to where you are or where I am at on your own. But that's pretty cool, and that talks a lot about you, Edwin. And we really want to talk about this one song that you guys both did, And before we get into that, because everybody, they send us direct messages, emails about what theme, what topic they want us to do. And we get so many topics. And we also have some topics of our own. But I think this song is a topic of its own. And it doesn't have to be like the month of the awareness month of mental
Health.
You know, we could talk about that every month. We should talk about that every month. And you know, there's some struggles, and for the people that are not even Christians, that are not believers, you guys don't only go through it. We as Christians, we go through it. And I think that's the first thing that we have to put in the table. Just because we're believers, we do go through that. We do go through, you know, mental struggles, psychological struggles, abuse, verbal, physical, whatever it is. And I want to just come out and just give out some statistics that I found. Lifeway research says that 23% of pastors acknowledge that they have personally struggled with a mental illness. We're talking about pastors. We're not talking about just members that just came on that last week and gave. I mean, this is what the pulpit, what we have in the pulpit now, in the platform, in the stage, leading churches, people that are struggling with mental illness. Can you talk about that song that you guys wrote, Llévate?
Well, yeah, man. I think that this song, God gave me this song, I think a few years ago, probably. And yo no tenía, you can speak Spanish, right?
Yeah.
Pero yo no tenía, en verdad, like, I didn't really have the plan of, like, coming out with a song anytime soon, you know. But, you know, God just kept talking to me, you know, about this song. And I think that when we write songs, we sometimes, we want to make it kind of commercial. Because we want everyone to hear it, you know. We don't want,
like, you don't want to make it for yourself.
Yeah,
right?
you know, like, you know, well,
Make it general. I know.
you know,
Yeah.
so sometimes, you know, you feel a little bit of fear, like, oh, you know, what people gonna think about this? How people gonna feel? You know, are people gonna start just looking at me different and stuff like that? And especially about the topic that I'm talking about, that usually, you know, you attach these type of things to, like, demons. And we attach this to, like, you're not praying enough, you're not fasting enough, or, you know. So I was like, if I come out with this, are people just gonna say, like, oh, you know, I told you, I knew it is, there's something had to be wrong, you know.
Edwin estaba tibio.
You know, so and I just, like, I think it's that we're just human, you know. We're human, and in this song, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about myself. I'm not talking about no one else, you know. I'm talking about me. The things that I've lived, the things in my mind that I've had to grow up with, you know, being in church, praying and fasting, and, you know, things that que, como dice la Biblia, que son como dardo de fuego, you know, and they come to your mind, you know, different situations, also depending from the different trauma that you have in life, you know, because not everyone experience the same mental issues, you know. You might, you can have mental problems or mental, you know, whatever issues in your life, and it could be provoked by different situations. You know, some people have a different reaction to different things, you know. So
and I think the worst feeling, the worst scenario that we could give anybody is when they see church, they have to see church as a safe place. But what happens if that safe place becomes a place where they actually go through that trauma? Whether, and I mean, this is la verdad sin filtro. I'm not gonna hold back. There's people in church that actually abused little kids. There you go. That little kid is gonna be traumatized. You know. So, and other even by pastors stealing the money of the church, you know, there's so many problems, so many scenarios that we could, you know, put out there. You know, and how do we deal? How can we deal with that, like, as a church? And I know that men have different struggles. How about females? What's the struggle? I mean, I know that you guys talk amongst each other with your friends. What are those struggles like?
I mean, Growing up in church, it was hard because I grew up, or we grew up, all of us grew up in a rajatabla kind of church. So that was one thing, because you couldn't dress a certain way, and that caused the tension that I didn't always want. Now that I'm older, it's hard being a single female, I feel, in church, because automatically people think you want to be with their man. And that's not true.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that guys get the flack for that, or guys are so sexual or things like that, but girls get looked at that way as well, especially if you like to dress up, especially if you like to do your makeup, you like to look nice. It's bad to look nice and it's bad to look bad. It's just like there's no winning in being a woman anywhere, and it's not easier in church.
So I mean, and we're talking like so freely right now, and this is awesome. People in church struggle, and they have different struggle, and I despise when adults say, what kind of problem would a young person have? Like, belittling them, like they're too little to have problems. Bro, I mean, there's an age gap where the devil attacks a little kid, and because if he could attack them, what is it? I think it's 12 to 16 years old. That's like the age where I mean, if Satan could get the youth, the kid in that age, they'll be traumatized for life. Because you're growing, and as you're growing, you grow with that burden, you grow with that trauma, and this song, and we were talking about it before. You wrote it because this is what you were going through. Now, bro, nobody likes to be, everybody likes to say the best thing about themselves. Oh, I saw God's glory, man, God spoke to me. But this song is so real, and thank you, because I know that a lot of people wanted to say what you say in this song, but they couldn't.
Yeah.
Because with that same mentality, like, yo, my pastor's gonna judge me. Oh, my best friend is gonna judge me. Oh, they're gonna judge me. Then they're not gonna put me to preach. They're not gonna, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So talk about your struggle, bro.
Well, yeah, man. I think that growing up, as like you said, as a teenager, when the devil attacks you in whatever way that he's attacking you, especially when you're that age, I think kids don't see consequences. So we're older, so we know that, well, if I call out on Monday, I'm not gonna get paid next week for this Monday, and my check isn't. But we know that consequence. But when you're younger, it's just like, I don't care.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
Like, you're not thinking that, well, the same money that I need for this week, I need it for next week too. You're just not thinking about it. It's just whatever. And so when you're a kid, you just don't see consequence. So when you attack them, and you just have this mind, I think it's easier for a kid not knowing the danger, or not knowing that there's more life. And I know that it can happen to older people. It can happen to anyone at 50s. Mental, I don't think that discriminates anyone.
Yeah.
But when you're younger, it's more dangerous. You just don't see life for what it is. Yeah. And you have this voice telling you that you're nothing. And at 13 years old, I had this voice telling me that I was worth nothing. That I was in church. I was, and I was happy in church. But I had this voice telling me, you're not worth anything. You're never gonna see what you want to see.
Wow.
Talk to us about the feedback from the song, like the testimonies that people have written to you, like how they felt about it.
Oh well, that's another thing. And we're really happy about this. The testimonies we've been getting testimonies. Of a few people have wrote us to tell us that this song has impacted their life. This one person specifically, just touched my heart. Wrote to me, and I didn't see the message actually for a few days, but when I did see it, it like made my whole day. And it's the whole purpose for the song. This young lady writes to me and says that she the other day had contemplated and taken her own life. And this song just came out, and she said this song came out in the perfect moment in my life. So it's just like, this is what it's about. And I'm so happy that the song is doing its job, and what it's supposed to do. You know, we're really happy that God is doing that.
Listening to the lyrics of your song, the lyrics of the song, just gonna paraphrase it. Is like these struggles. Not only do they, it's like it's hard for you to live in a secular, the secular life, but it's also really hard to look for God. Can you talk to us about that? Because a lot of people think that, like what you said, oh, you're not praying enough, you're not fasting enough, and this could be like one of those things that is, getting in the way. For example, and I'm gonna be, imagine going to church, and in church that's where you've got your trauma. Somebody hurt you there. And then they ask you, why you not coming to church? Oh, I don't want to go to church. They're not knowing that there's somebody in that church that hurt Amanda. And that's why Amanda now doesn't want to go to church. And that's what you were saying. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? About those struggles?
Well, I think that in church, we need to, I want to say this before anything. Church for me is not about the people. Church for me is not about the pastor. Church for me is about God. So my eyes are on God. I've seen many come, many leave. I've seen many things in church. We've seen scandals. Yeah. We've seen just a lot of things. A lot of things happen. But my eyes are on God. And I think that when your eyes are on God, you don't let anything else just take your focus away. You don't let any struggle or anything that anyone says, just take your struggle. La Biblia dice, alzaré mis ojos a los montes. ¿De dónde vendrá mi socorro? Mi socorro viene de Jehová, que hizo los cielos y la tierra.
Yeah. And I feel like as a youth also, like, I don't know if this has happened to you, like, you probably, at the time, you don't notice how valuable it is to be in God's path. Like, after time passes, you start, like you were saying, people start leaving church. Like, what helps you maintain yourself, like, in church?
Well, that's a great question. Well, I think that when we see, por ejemplo, un matrimonio, tú ves un matrimonio y la gente dice, wow, nosotros tenemos 40 años juntos. We've been 40 years together, and everybody's like, wow, oh my God. But in those 40 years, they was about to break up like 30 times,
About to throw hands.
They had a lot of fights and, a lot of doubts, and that's just part of life, and that's the beauty of it. To say, we've been through all of that, and we here, and we're made it, we made it. We have a beautiful family. So I think that's church. It's like, okay, I'm 25 and I've been most of my life in church, and that doesn't mean that I've been perfect. Yeah. I've been 25 years, failing God. I've been 25 years praying. I've been 25 years making mistakes. I've been 25 years trying to find myself, trying to find God's purpose in my life, and I'm here, and that's what I think it is. Yo creo que es el testimonio que todavía podemos estar aquí. I've had many doubts. I've had many struggles in my life, but to say that I'm still here, man. Yeah. And it feels great to be here because church, what's church and music and God, that has saved me from so much stuff.
And I think music is also a good way of therapy, like good therapy.
Great. Yeah, of course, where we come from, the streets where we come from, I come from the Bronx. The paradise. Es el vuelto. But, I've seen a lot of stuff in the Bronx, and I've seen a lot of kids who were in my same class, and they took another path. The same path that I could have taken. Yeah. And I didn't. And Amanda didn't. No. And you didn't. And Anthony didn't. And Christina didn't. And that's just it. And we've decided to follow God. With all our struggles, with our mental issues, we've decided to follow God.
And I think when you put up a fight, the cause, that the path, like what Anthony was saying, and you were, I like the comparison. When you put up a fight, is because you care about that.
Of course.
Because like marriage, you said the 40 years, or somebody 40, 50 years, they had fights. But the reason why they kept on fighting because it was worth it, you know? And I think, you know, everything that's worth it, it's worth fighting for. Why is it so hard for church to talk about these topics about struggle, mental struggles?
Because we're all perfect. I think there's that. I think that we all just want to be perfect. Like, I'm a perfect Christian, you know? Like, I think, like, we look at Christianity like it's supposed to be perfect. So
They're scared of criticism?
yeah.
What do you think?
I think it's that, and I think it's also like pray it away. Like, if I talk about it, it's because I'm not, like what Edwin's saying, I'm not praying enough. So let's not talk about it. Let's just pray about it. God will fix it.
That we
Jesus is the
should.
best fixer. And that's
We should.
it.
No, we should.
No, we should,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we shouldn't just pray about it. That's the
Yeah.
problem. There's more to do.
There's more, yeah.
I,
Healing.
I mean, we're here. I think we all agree that, and anybody who's watching right now with a struggle, with any kind of struggle, make sure you go and seek professional help.
Yes.
And we're not talking about the hermano in the back.
No, yeah.
That doesn't know anything of what they're talking about. No.
Consejería in the back.
And this is where we go. What you said about manager. Let's go to a professional
Yeah.
person, and
Yeah.
we have to pay for them.
And there's Christian people.
There
in
are
that-
Christian-
in that
yes,
field
yes.
that help
Yeah.
you out as well, you know.
Yeah, and I heard an analogy once that if your car gets messed up, you're not going to fix it yourself because you don't know what you're doing.
That's right.
Go to a professional who's going to help you. Why
Yeah.
would, if it's your car, something so small, why would you not do that for yourself, your mind, and your peace?
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Go
was
to
a
a
gem.
professional.
That's a quote. I already see that as a quote. I see that as a quote. Let's
Someone
quote
write
that.
it down.
Yeah, let's quote that.
So 49% of pastors say they rarely or never speak to their congregation about mental illness. Almost half of the pastors don't talk about it. Like what we were saying right now, maybe because they don't want to, talk about it.
No, I feel like it's more easy to spiritualize it, like, you know, pray, fast, than to like.
And I think that's what's been hurting the church, because we've been spiritualizing it so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some things that, they're spiritual, but there's other things that you need to go, professionally and seek help. We're not saying that prayer is not the answer. Prayer is always the answer.
Absolutely.
Always.
But God also gave knowledge to these people, psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, and like you said, there's a lot of Christian therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists that could go into that. But man, I was reading these statistics, man, and 27% of the churches have a plan to assist family affected. So, and this is awesome with the song, because the church is composed with family. And each family is going to have a different struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I believe as a pastor, we should, pray about it. Yes, pray about it, but also educate ourselves, or network with pastors that are psychologists, that are psychiatrists. And you know what? Let's do a conference. Let's have everybody from our church. And then it comes to the money thing. Like, oh man, if we get a psychologist, it's worth it.
Of course.
It is
100%.
worth it. You investing in your church.
Yes.
We go,
Sí.
we do, pero mira, no quieren hacer eso, pero prefieren atraer un predicador de lejos.
yeah.
They rather bring a preacher from mad far and give them 20 G's. Let's rather get this therapy and the stuff that we need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this llévate. Why the title llévate?
Because
Take it away, right?
take
take it
things away, man. Because we're putting them a los pies de Cristo. We just want him to take it away. Just take these things, that are bothering us. These things that are not, letting us really go to him, or not go to him, or just feel more comfortable, in the path of God. Because we have all these things, and we, and sometimes all these things come from product of all the responsibilities that we have. It's not only because of trauma. Sometimes it's just we have a lot going on in our lives. We got the bills.
How often do you get like ideas for songs?
How often?
Yeah. And which one do you know is the one that you want to put out there?
Well, I think that the first answer, I think probably 3 times a day, I get different ideas. 3, 4. I'm just constantly thinking. Like I probably call Amanda and Christina 5 times a day. Like, yo, look at this song. Yeah. Like that's what it is. Yo, I got this song and it's like, llévate mi ansiedad, llévate mi dolor. Yo, that's all I got though right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just like, I'll call you back.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna call him back with the rest. You know, and that's just the way, like, you know, it is, you know, like, oh, yo, wait, what you think? You think this part sounds good? Yeah. But like, you know, I just know my friends already.
Yeah.
I know when they like something, and I know when they just like, you know, like they have a certain type of reaction that's how I know. Like, you know, so sometimes I just call Christina. I always call Chris, and I'm like, yo, Chris, you know, I got this song. But the thing is that I have the idea in my mind, but she can't hear it because she has no, like, she doesn't have the headphones, or like, so she can't hear the beat. I hear the beat on my end, but she can't hear. So I'm trying to show her the song, and she's just like, yeah, I like it a lot.
So
it's nice.
So Chris is the one that approves.
Yeah, no, yeah.
necessarily.
Sometimes, but then later on, I'll show her the song with the beat. She's like, "Oh, this is fire!"
yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, but that's the same song I showed you earlier." And you was like, you know. So like, I just know the reactions. You know, I get them from them, and I go sometimes by that, or sometimes just be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna still do that anyways."
And what a lot of people don't know is that there's also men in the Bible that gone through struggles.
Yeah, of course.
Elijah,
David.
went to struggle. David had family struggles.
Yeah.
You remember when the prophet went and said, "Is this all your kids?" Yeah, these are all my kids, and they left him. They abandoned him.
Yeah, like he wasn't even.
Poor thing. Yeah. and sometimes we feel like that our own family, you know, forgets about us. And also John the Baptist. John the Baptist also went through depression. He actually seen, and this is where I'm going to. We see all of this, all of these men of God, seeing God's glory, seeing the power of God, and yet they still have struggles. There's these, I think it was a book that I was reading about these men of God that God used. They had their own struggle.
Lo Generales de Dios.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a great book.
One of them was an alcoholic. You know, the other one was, you know, his problem was sex addiction. I mean, they had struggles, bro. They had struggles, you know, and I mean, some of them ended up their ministry like really bad. Others they, you know, repented. Luis Urbáez, Marcado para la Unción.
I read that book too.
I need that book. I've been trying to find it.
Yeah,
No, porque esos son para ciertos niveles.
you're not up there yet.
They told me that book is only in DR.
For real?
Yeah.
I got that book when I was a young kid. Someone lent it to me. Yeah, they lent it to me. That's how it was.
And you never gave it back.
Nah, they because the person pressed me. They were like, "Ew." The book.
So I mean, this is where we're going. I mean, a lot of people in church, bro, like they going through it, and it's not only the you know, the people that just came last week.
Mm-hmm.
Also, people that have a lot of years in church, and I mean, from La Verdad Sin Filtro, we want to thank you for that song, bro. Because I know that song, that song, bro, is bringing more, every time somebody hears it, awareness. And like I said, it doesn't need to be the month of mental illness awareness. We could talk about this all the time. Let's talk about this all the time, you know? Let's stop talking about sex. Let's talk about mental illness, you know? Let's talk about mental illness more, because that's something that's really struggling. There's a lot of people in church struggling with that. Anthony, last word?
Thank you guys for coming, man. It's a pleasure.
Bro, it's been great. Thank you guys for having us. It's always great to be with you guys, and I hope you guys continue to invite me. You know?
Definitely. Christian, last word?
No, thank you guys for having me. I'm not even in the song, but I love spending time with you guys.
You
and I
approved
love
it.
coming
You
by
approved of
here.
it. So, yeah.
I do approve of it. So,
Amanda, last word?
No, thank you guys so much for having us. This has been great.
Awesome.
And I hope that the song blesses everyone. Please go
Yes,
listen to it
yes.
and watch the video.
Where can we?
Music video.
Where can we go?
Yeah.
Where can we listen to the video?
You can check it out on my YouTube channel, Edwin Valera.
Yeah, we're gonna put the link right here, right?
Yeah, Edwin Valera. You
Alright.
check it out. I also just came out with a live arrangement. You know, I have this new live performance.
the yard.
Yeah, it's on the yard. You know,
nice.
And it's great.
Is that gonna be like a constant thing, or that like?
Yeah,
Like-
yourself. Don't
Don't
get ahead of
get
yourself.
ahead of yourself.
You know,
Come on now.
there's something.
Yo,
There's something.
the people
cooking
want to
there.
know. They want to
There's,
know.
there's
Man.
something
They'll
cooking
find out
there.
later.
Yeah, we're gonna start, and and my new album that's coming out soon too. You know, there's a
When?
lot of things coming
Okay.
out.
You want to give a date yet or not yet?
No, we don't have
Alright.
a date yet, but it's definitely coming out in August.
Is this song gonna be in it?
Yeah, Llévate
Oh,
is in
nice.
it. Vuelvo al
How many-
redil is
how
in
many
it.
songs?
We're having 9 songs. Yeah, Vuelvo al redil is in it. Enamorado, and we have a few more songs, man, that we're gonna be doing, and it's been a great journey.
The
Yeah.
best
Really, really
is yet
happy.
to come.
Yeah. No,
Like,
and you
amen.
know what? We've been seeing you, like the journey from the last time that you were on the podcast to now, bro. Like we've been seeing you, and as a pastor, as a friend, just stay humble, bro.
Amen.
You know,
Glory to Jesus.
If you stay humble, God is definitely gonna lift you up, and not only you, but Amanda
Amen.
and Christina.
Amen.
All right,
Amen.
guys. Welcome, La Verdad Sin Filtro podcast. God bless you, and we'll see you. Yeah.
Bye, guys.